10 years ago, Cook County enacted a $25 tax on guns and between a 1 and 5 cent tax on every round of ammunition in the county. And that apparently is on its last leg. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. It's unbelievable to see just how long it takes for these things to get dealt with in the courts. But yesterday, out of Cook County, a judge sided with Guns Save Life, challenging the county's gun and ammo tax. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Don't forget to get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning. Go to thecentersquare.com and find this podcast wherever you find podcasts. All right, let's get into it. Gun Save Life, gun rights advocacy group in Illinois. They don't just hold meetings, they also get involved in litigation. And one of these lawsuits is challenging the state's, or rather the Cook County tax on guns and ammo. Long history here. Back in 2012, Cook County passed a tax on guns and ammo, $25 per gun, 1 to 5 cents per round of ammunition, which you got to think can really add up if you're buying in bulk in Cook County. But obviously, gun rights advocates challenged that. There's still a pending challenge that gun rights advocate Todd Vandermeide has against Cook County, but you also had Guns Save Life challenging the gun and ammo tax. I talked with Guns Save Life Executive Director John Boch, and he reacted to the Cook County judge yesterday, Monday, siding with Guns Save Life in this case.
Well, it sounds like yesterday's ruling means that the trial court is carrying out the Illinois Supreme Court's directive from 2021. Of course, after they issued this, Illinois Supreme Court issued their order, Cook County argued that we amended the ordinance to fix the remedies, and as such, it should not be followed through, and they continue to collect the taxes. However, finally now, after 4 years, the trial court has ruled, look, we don't have the authority to relitigate this case, and as such, here's the final decision, throwing out the Cook County gun and ammo tax, and that's it. It's entered. At this point, I think our side's in negotiations with Cook County to cease the collections of these taxes that have been ruled unconstitutional, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't act like adults and they want to go try to relitigate this some more, take it to the appellate court. If they want to get stupid with this, it might ultimately end up in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, where there's already a couple of cases setting precedent that you can't have a targeted tax against a fundamental right, like the First Amendment or the right to vote or even the right to free press. So I think that could strike the end of these gun and ammo taxes nationwide if Kwame Raoul and Cook County want to be stupid about this. So we'll see how it all follows through and how it ends up. It's already been in the courts for 10 years already. What's another year or so?
Big question some of you might have out there is, what if you paid some of those taxes over the past 10 years? What's going to happen there? Is this something that is going to get refunded? Is this something that people are going to end up suing over? Is this something that is just going to go down a dark hole?
That's a very good question. What to do with the people who have paid the taxes? There's already at least one class action lawsuit that I'm aware of that people are asking for the county to cough that money back up. And maybe not necessarily to the individual gun owner specifically, but who knows, it may end up, well, quite frankly, it'll mostly end up with the lawyers, but it may end up with charitable causes, who knows. But I think there will be ultimately some attorneys out there that are going to be scrapping over what to do with those millions of dollars that have been collected over the years. And Cook County is going to be scrambling to come up with that money that I'm sure they've spent on trivial things as they usually do.
Now, the history of this tax, again, back in 2012, it was enacted. People sued. It went all the way up to the Illinois Supreme Court, which ultimately said that Cook County couldn't do the tax the way they did it. Well, then Cook County, they just went ahead and amended the ordinance and continued taxing guns and ammo. Boch says, could we see something like that again from Cook County this time around after yesterday's ruling from a circuit court judge?
I think your memory is correct. And again, though, the trial court said, look, we don't have the authority to relitigate this just because you amended the ordinance. And they gave the final decision in the last few days as a result of that. I'm sure the Cook County could say, well, let's try to relitigate again, but I just don't see that getting a lot of traction. I think the Cook County Court is ready to be done with this. But if they want to appeal this decision from the 10th, from that judge, it may go up to the appellate court, and ultimately, worst case scenario for Cook County is that this, again, ends up in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, where they've already ruled that you can't have targeted taxes against fundamental rights, and the Second Amendment is certainly a fundamental right. And if the U.S. Supreme Court rules on this, it'll mark the end of these gun and ammo taxes nationwide, and a whole bunch of these other states and municipalities that have similar taxes, they're not going to be real happy with Cook County for ruining their little gravy train prematurely by being boneheads about this.
All right, now on some other issues concerning gun rights. Again, talking with John Boch, gun rights advocate with Gun Save Life. Headlines across the country yesterday was that the U.S. Supreme Court turning away a gun owner ID law challenge, I believe out of Maryland, not wanting to take that case. But it seems that that case was on preliminary grounds. What does that mean for the state of Illinois' challenges? Gun rights advocates taking the firearm owner ID card case to court to try to challenge that as unconstitutional. Does that make Illinois' cases that much more important?
Well, as we learned ourselves in our case, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't intervene in preliminary cases. They don't do interlocutory appeals. They want to have the final case that's been settled on the merits, and then they'll take a look at maybe accepting the case for their court docket. Again, they only accept, 50 or 60 cases each year of the thousands, if not tens of thousands, that are sent their way. So I'm not surprised that the Maryland case was rejected. No surprise there. They do have a couple of other cases that they are flirting with, including another case out of Maryland involving gun bans, a case out of Rhode Island involving magazine bans. And our hope as the pro-gun community is that they accept those and establish some framework of rules for whether or not these states can ban popular self-defense semi-automatic rifles and the magazines that feed them.
Clearly, there's a lot more to be said about all of this. And again, we'll do what we can to keep you updated here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Did want to recap something that we talked about yesterday, and that deals with the measure that passed both chambers in the Illinois General Assembly last week, dealing with orders of protection, essentially saying that if somebody's the subject of an order of protection, then police have to confiscate those firearms. Well, Governor J.B. Pritzker last week, he said that he will sign that bill.
I think it's pretty good. Remember that this is something that's been important to me. As you know, we've heard from law enforcement over the course of the negotiations of it, the challenge of removing guns from a home or from a person. I think you've heard this before, that when someone's FOID card, for example, has been revoked and we know they have a weapon, that it takes 4 police officers usually to go remove just one weapon from the hands of somebody who had their FOID card revoked. 4 police officers. And we have, there were, I think at the time that we were examining this problem, there were 10,000 people whose FOID cards had been revoked. But can you imagine having 4 officers go to 10,000? I mean, the amount of time, the amount of law enforcement that would be taken off the streets, very challenging. So that was one of the things that was in consideration about how do we effectuate this. And I think law enforcement got to a point where they felt like they can effectuate the Karina's law. And it's the right idea. It's the right thing to do. I will sign the bill.
All right, again, guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us with Illinois in Focus Daily each and every weekday morning. And get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com.